Chapter 6. Into the Dark. The Bloodwild was a rotting gash, and Dylan Wade was hemorrhaging within it. The crimson jungle pressed against him, its gnarled trees oozing green glowing sap that hissed on the mire. Vines hung like snares, their tips dripping acid that burned pinprick holes in his boots. Yellow fungi pulsed, their sickly light mocking his hammering heart. Every screech, every rustle was a demon clutching his heart. His starry scars baffled him under blood-crusted rags. Eryndor didn't give a shit about him, and neither did the jungle. Veyr stalked ahead, a lean shadow in riveted leathers, chipped amulet glinting faintly. Corrin, the hermit who might unravel Dylan's scars, was a faint hope, but each step deeper into the Bloodwild felt like wading into his own grave. A sharp whistle sliced the air, stopping Dylan cold. Veyr froze, hand on a sword hilt, grey eyes scanning the crimson tangle. From the vines and shadows, figures emerged, small, barely 5 feet, their skin blending with the forest in shades of bark brown and moss green. Wood elves, 24 strong, moved with eerie grace, as if the jungle's pulse guided their steps. Their luminous eyes glinted, sensing the buzz of unseen life, trees whispering, beasts stirring. Clad in armor of woven vines and polished bone, they wielded curved bows of twisted wood and spears tips etched with runes that caught the fungal glow. Hunters, trackers, one with the Bloodwild's heart. They fanned out, silent, deadly, arrows nocked, spears poised. The leader, a muscular elf with braided moss in her hair, stepped forward, her spear leveled at Veyr's chest. "State your business, human," she said, voice like the whisper of wind through gnarled, ancient trees. "This forest isn't yours." Veyr's lip curled, his posture coiling like a spring. "Our business is our own," he growled, fingers twitching toward his twin swords. "Step aside, or bleed." Dylan's stomach lurched, his breath shallow. The elves' eyes froze him, their stillness a promise of death. Then the jungle stirred. 20 more emerged from trees and bushes, bows drawn, arrows glinting, spear points steady. A bead of sweat stung Dylan's eye. They were fucked. Veyr stiffened, his defiance wavering under the weight of 40 weapons. He raised a hand, slow, deliberate. "We seek Corrin the Hermit. No quarrel with you." The elves hardened, their luminous eyes darting. Whispers hissed among them, sharp and nervous, like leaves in a storm. The leader twitched, her spear unwavering. "Corrin's not been seen in months. His woods are cursed. A creeping darkness, foul beasts, spirits that reek of Vaughn's void. He's likely dead, gnawed to bones." Her gaze flicked to Dylan, lingering on his glowing scars, then back to Veyr. "If you're fool enough to search, go, but expect no aid. The Bloodwild keeps its own." She gestured to a shadowed path, and the elves melted into the jungle, their presence lingering like a held breath. Veyr's hand dropped, his glare cutting through the trees. "Fucking tree rats," he muttered, then pulled a nicked dagger from his belt, its leather grip worn but sure. He tossed it to Dylan, who fumbled the catch. "Keep this close, boy. Shit's about to get uglier." Dylan clutched the dagger, its weight heavier than the broken sword. "Uglier? Those elves were gonna skewer us." His voice cracked, panic bubbling. "And now we're walking into some cursed woods? I can't—" "Shut it!" Veyr snapped, his voice a whip. "You're breathing. That's enough for now. Or would you like to take another path on your own?" He pushed into the shadowed path, the jungle's crimson fading to a sickly grey. The forest darkened, the air growing colder, heavier, reeking of rot and something sour, like anguish made real. Trees twisted into skeletal claws, their bark pitted with sores that wept black ooze. Fungi dimmed to ashen grey, their pulse weak, and vines hung limp, like entrails strung across the mire. The sky was a starless bruise pressing down on Dylan. Every snap, every flicker was a beast waiting to tear him apart. His scars burned as if eyes, ancient, unseen, watched from the void. His mind screamed with his own pathetic reflection in every puddle. The dagger shook in his grip, slick with sweat. "Veyr!" he whispered, voice raw. "Something's wrong. It's watching us. I can't do this." Veyr's eyes locked on him, cold but steady. "Fear's a liar, boy. It's screaming you're fucked, but you're still here. Hold that dagger, breathe and walk." Dylan nodded, choking down a whimper. Veyr's words a frayed lifeline. He forced his legs to move, the jungle mocking him at every turn. Unknown to them, Zariel, an elite wood elf hunter, trailed silently, his green cloak blending with the mire. His obsidian-tipped arrows were ready, his senses attuned to the forest's distress. Veyr's restraint and Dylan's raw fear had marked them as no threat, but the darkness ahead stirred Zariel's curiosity. He followed, a ghost in the shadows. The path grew denser, the air thick with dread. Veyr froze, head tilting, hearing twigs snap, then a low, guttural roar that rattled Dylan's bones. His eyes widened, scarred face taut. "Zelba," he hissed. A monstrous shape loomed through the grey, humanoid standing on scaled hind legs, its bear-like head bristling with razor fangs, its lizard-like body glinting with dark scales, a whip-like tail lashing. Yellow eyes burned, jaws dripping with hunger. "Run, boy!" Veyr barked, blades flashing from their sheaths. "Don't look back!" Dylan bolted, heart hammering, the dagger nearly slipping from his hand. Branches tore at his skin, the jungle's claws hungry. Behind him, Veyr charged the Zelba, moving like lightning. His twin swords carved arcs through the air, steel biting scales, black ichor spraying. The beast roared, claws slashing, and Veyr danced through its strikes, his blades slicing its flank, its shoulder. The Zelba's tail whipped, cracking like thunder, and caught Veyr's side, hurling him against a tree. He hit hard, breath ragged, but rolled to his feet, stabbing deep into the beast's thigh. It surged, undeterred, pinning him to the ground, its jaws snapping inches from his face. Veyr grabbed a thick branch, jamming it against the Zelba's maw, the wood splintering under its bite. "Fuck you," he snarled, muscles straining, the beast's claws raking his leathers. The branch cracked, seconds from giving way. Dylan, gasping, stopped running, his fear colliding with something rawer, defiance, or stupidity. He turned back, dagger raised, and sprinted, plunging the blade into the Zelba's hind leg. The beast howled, twisting, its claw slashing toward Dylan's head, grazing his scalp, blood hot and sudden. An obsidian-tipped arrow whistled, piercing the Zelba's eye, driving through its skull. The beast collapsed, dead, its scales dull in the grey light. Dylan stumbled, panting, blood dripping down his face. Veyr shoved the corpse aside, chest heaving, and looked up. Zariel stepped from the shadows, his green cloak frayed, bow lowered, moss-green eyes steady. His braided hair was streaked with ash, his bone armor etched with faint runes. "You're no threat to us," he said, voice soft but firm. "I've watched. The forest speaks of your path. I'll guide you to Corrin's woods." Veyr wiped blood from his lip, nodding curtly. "Didn't need the help, elf, but thanks." His eyes flicked to Dylan, a flicker of approval buried in his scowl. "Not bad, boy. Stupid, but not bad." Dylan clutched the dagger, his paranoia raw, the jungle's dark heart pulsing around him. Zariel's presence, and Veyr's grudging respect, kept him upright, but the cursed woods loomed, promising worse than the Zelba. Corrin, dead or alive, was their only shot, and Dylan wasn't sure he'd survive the answers.